Good morning. It is day 3 of Vlogmas. If you're new here, hi, I'm Becca. I normally make content around fibre arts, so hand spinning, knitting, but I thought it would be fun to take part in Vlogmas, the YouTube tradition of making content for 24 days in the run up to Christmas. Now, I was thinking about this yesterday and talking about making new traditions and how sometimes, sorry, I've just walked up a hill. Sometimes, Christmas can be a difficult time of the year for people, and maybe we could change the way we feel about that by creating new traditions. And one of the things I was talking about was how my partner and I had made new traditions when we got together, nearly 16 years ago, which is actually quite a long time. I didn't realise it was quite that long. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was how making changes, subtle changes, can also really help us celebrate what's happening in our life. Because I am in my 50s and semi-retired, so that was a huge change that happened to me and the way I celebrate Christmas. And I was also thinking about my peers, and a lot of the people I worked with or my sort of cohort from college, huge changes have happened for them in the last few years as they've sort of hit middle age, and people that are coming to see us for Christmas in a few days' time. One of those people has lost her husband, so she is now a widow, and the other person, one of the other people that's coming to see us, who I was thinking about, she's in that age range. She's become divorced. She's now 60 and finding herself single. So we're kind of making all these changes without realizing it, because all these life changes are happening. I have nieces who are now at university age, so my sister and husband, their life has completely changed, and the way they celebrate Christmas is completely changing. And I've got a very good friend whose father is now disabled and quite elderly, and he is living with my friend. So that was another massive change that happened in middle life. So I really just wanted to acknowledge that, firstly, Christmas is not always a great time of the year for people, and maybe I can try and inspire you to make positive changes so that this time of the year doesn't feel quite as difficult as maybe sometimes it can. And also just acknowledge that there are lots of changes that are happening for anyone who is sort of hitting midlife, which I am, and I know from the kind of information that YouTube send me, a lot of people that watch this channel, they are kind of in that age. I mean, not all of them by any means, of course not, and you might not be in that sort of age range, but there are, a good percentage of the people watching this video probably are in that age range. So I'd be really put my teeth in. I'd be really interested to hear in the comments basically how you've changed your Christmas celebrations, and is it because maybe you didn't enjoy the Christmas celebrations you're having, or there's been life changes? So I'm going to walk on a little bit. It's pouring with rain. Yeah, it's raining fairly hard, but I'm on my morning walk, and I do my morning walk no matter what. One thing could have a dog who, if she doesn't have her morning walk, goes a little bit stir crazy, and also I really enjoy it anyway. So I'm going to carry on, and I'll turn you around again and show you where I am. So see you in a mo. So we're just walking up here, and there's quite a lot of fallen trees, and I never walk here when it's a high wind, because this is not really very well managed, this woodland, so there are lots of trees that potentially could come down. Woodland played a really important part of my life for nearly 10 years, because we used to keep woodland pigs before my partner suffered a life-changing brain injury, which meant that he had to retire and I had to retire as well. And I didn't have to retire. I chose to retire to become his full-time caregiver. One of the things we used to do was make and sell bacon. And one of my jobs that I've got today that I'm going to try and share with you, if I can find a good way of filming it is to actually slice the bacon. Right, I think that's enough of that. I'll turn you around so I can see you. Okay, so walking and talking. So making bacon. When we had to give up farming, which as you can imagine was a real wrench because it's something that we both had dreamt of for years, and we achieved it and we were doing it and we were doing the thing we wanted to do, then you know, life happens and you're not doing the thing you want to do. So making bacon was one of the things that we wanted to carry on doing. So the way we've got around that is that we support a local family farm by buying whole sides of bacon, well, whole sides of pork, so either belly or loin, and we still make our own bacon because a couple of the things we kept when we sold the business, we had an old backpacker that, I mean, it still worked, but we just weren't going to get very much money for it. And then we had a couple of bacon slicers. One of them is this fantastic 1950s hand crank bacon slicer, which, I mean, really, we should have sold it, but we just couldn't bear to part with it. And also we've got an electric slicer, which is probably what I'll use, because although I love the 1950s hand crank bacon slicer, it actually takes quite a lot of muscle power to use it, and it would mean sharpening the blade, and it's kind of quite a long job to get it working because we don't really use it very often. And I've got quite a lot to do today. I've got marzipan to put on the Christmas cake, I've got outside lights to get up, and you know, all those kind of chores you have to do before visitors arrive, such as really exciting things like the washing and ironing. I'm really not filming me doing the washing and ironing because that is just, you know, really no one needs to see that. I don't even want to see it. I don't even want to do it. So I'm not putting that on YouTube. Anyway, I'm going to carry on with my walk and I shall try and film the bits and pieces of my day. And then, as I did yesterday, just give you a quick roundup at the end of the day, probably when I'm about to go on my afternoon walk. So I will see you in a little bit. Bye for now. One of the new traditions that we created for ourselves when we stopped being farmers and lived a smaller, simpler life was creating bacon to eat with our Sunday brunch, and it's become a firm favourite with many of our visitors when they come to see us, that they enjoy home cured bacon. So as we have guests coming over the Christmas period, I'm slicing and packing bacon that will actually last us 6 months, but will be for our guests as well. A homemade Christmas cake is an absolute must, but I'm not precious about making my own marzipan or icing, and I actually only ever ice or decorate the top of the cake and then put a frill around the outside. Traditionally, you maybe should use apricot jam as glue for your marzipan, but as I don't make apricot jam and I do make jam out of black currants, this is actually blackcurrant jam. So heat it up, put it over the top, then roll out your marzipan. And marzipan's really sticky, so if you dust your surface with icing sugar, the marzipan will not stick to your surface or to your rolling pin. So you'll be able to roll it out really easily and then just lift it directly onto the cake. Now, years ago, my grandmother always used to make the Christmas cake for the family, and she maintained that if you added a little spot of blue colouring to the icing, it looked really white. Maybe this was true in the 1950s, but by the time she actually stopped making a Christmas cake, which was when she was well into her 80s, her hands had got a little bit shaky, and so the icing sugar was always very, very blue. And it was sort of a running family joke as to how blue the icing would be on the Christmas cake. So when I came to ice my own Christmas cake, I was quite tempted to add blue to the icing, but maybe taste prevailed and I don't. But it's a good fun story that all the family really enjoy, and it is a real remembrance of our grandmother that we all loved so dearly. A rich fruit cake is a very traditional British cake to have at Christmas time, but I'd love to know in the comments what you serve with a cup of tea at Christmas time. Or do you even have a cup of tea at Christmas time? Or is it coffee? I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments below. It's finally stopped raining, so we've come for our afternoon walk. You can probably hear the dog in the car, very overexcited. But I just thought I'd show you the view quickly before we lose all the light. And we're on the side of Dinas Mountain, Pembrokeshire, West Wales, UK, and can't actually see where we live, but we live the other side of the bay, over there somewhere, hiding behind the hill. And there you go. That is the view from what's called the viewpoint on the side of Dinas Mountain. So I'll get the dog out of the car as she's very excited and we'll go for our walk. So this is one of our favourite walks. When I say us, I mean me and the dog Millie. Andrew has come with us, but he's taking photographs at the viewpoint. He can't actually get up here because, as I've probably shared on quite a few occasions, he is a wheelchair user. And this is not a particularly wheelchair friendly path. There are wheelchair friendly paths in Pembrokeshire, but this isn't one of them. So we're off before the light completely goes. So a bit of walking and talking. Oh, I look an absolute state. I don't even have a pair of earrings on, which is virtually unheard of for me. It's been a really busy day, but I've got quite a few things achieved. Got the lights up. I don't think anybody's employing me as a lighting technician anytime soon, or a lighting designer, because, yeah, they're not great, but they're up and they look sparkly and Christmassy, and that's really all you're after, isn't it? So, yeah, so that's done, and I'll probably drop in a picture when we get back when it's dark so that you can see the effect. I've got a few more things to do before our guests arrive tomorrow, but they're not coming till tomorrow afternoon, so I'm going to get those done tomorrow now because, you know, we've got dinner to get and, well, I've got to finish our walk for a start, and then exciting things like dinner and the ironing and, you know, all those good things that we all have to do. So right, I'm going to stop and turn you around and show you where we are because this is a lovely view as well. So that is what is called Newport Bay, and there's a really nice beach down there, really busy in the summer, really quiet in the winter, as everywhere is. So as you can see, it's calm and still and the rain has stopped. So really enjoying just having a walk after the rain. So I had a question from Kimmy on my last video, which was where I was making sloe gin. Well, I was decanting sloe gin, and she asked for a recipe for the sloe gin. I have got to make a batch of sloe gin so that it will be ready in time for next year. And I'm going to do that once our visitors have come and gone, which will be sort of Thursday or Friday. So I will post it then, and I will include a recipe. Thank you so much for the question, Kimmy, and thank you for saying my hat was cute, which I of course have forgotten as well because I'm kind of, you know, all over the place today. And it is my one and only successful crochet project. I really have tried with crochet. I don't know, I don't get it for whatever reason. I kind of don't get it. So I managed a hat, and that's all I've managed with crochet in, well, several attempts at crochet. So thank you for that question. If you have any questions on any of the videos, leave a comment below. I will do my best to answer them either directly in the comments or in a video, because this will be number 3 of 24, so I've still got quite a few videos to go. I think the next few are going to be quite short because obviously we've got our Christmas visitors coming very early on in the month for the next few days, and I don't suppose I'll get an awful lot of filming done, but I will attempt to answer any questions that people have. And I really am going to say goodbye for now and carry on with my walk, and then get back to the house and, as I say, do the things that I don't particularly want to film, which is, you know, the ironing. Although, having said that, there's somebody I follow called What Viv Did Next, a lady who lives in London, and she basically had to give up work because she was a nurse. She had to give up work because she got a real problem with her knees and was finding it. I think she's got either arthritis or very damaged knees, so she was finding nursing really difficult. And she basically is living off her allotment, and she is selling a few things in a little shop that she's got, a little Shopify shop, and she also makes YouTube videos, and she's been doing it for years, and she's a lovely lady. And she made a video where she was chatting, and she has some amazing stories, and she was chatting and she was ironing, and it was actually really interesting. So ironing is not always boring, but I suspect when I'm doing it that it's fairly boring because, you know, I, yeah, I don't think my life is quite as interesting as Vivi's. Anyway, check her out. I will leave a link below. I really like her videos. They're quite long, and she does do quite a lot of gardening in them, but she also sometimes just sits on the sofa and just chats about life, which I really enjoy. So until tomorrow, have a wonderful evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you for day 4 tomorrow. Bye for now.